Welcome to Moonlight Madness. And so today I've got to be reading a special one. It's for Moonlight Madness, Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising, November 2021. The first card I pulled up, and this is from the Fairy Tarot deck by Doreen, Virtue and Radleigh Valentine, is the Five of Spring. 5 is protection, but there's lots of competition. So there's maybe 5 people that are fighting over things that are just got different opinions and can't agree. Well, there might be a panel that's deciding your fate on something when it comes to work or something like that. There might be 5 people you have to, satisfy in order to get the position. So hopefully you do. It's all looking pretty good at the moment though. So Gemini, there's yourself crossing yourself. You may have fire on your chart, or you may have a moon in Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn. There's a lot of earth signs around you in this reading, and there's also a couple of water signs in the reading. So that there might be a couple of water, a couple of earth, and a couple of fire signs that are all squabbling over similar things. And an air sign is the only one in the mix of it that's trying to come to a logical decision based on all the chaos and the drama that's going on around, because they may be the voice of reason. You may be the voice of reason for these quarrelling, bickering people. The King of Swords represents the Gemini, Aquarius and Libra energy, balanced energy. So maybe you've got 2 air signs that are trying to make a balanced decision there on what to do next. And then you've got in the past, the recent past, is the Princess of Cups. She's just sitting there in her garden minding her own business. In the past, it talks about, so with the other one, interactions with all these squabbles, you need to keep the energy light and upbeat and maybe try to deflect the tension. It could be just, you're not very warm. Librans are more cerebral, so Aries, Aquarius and Gemini tend to look at it in a logical way rather than an emotional way. So the emotions will come later, but they'll try and sort it out mentally and do mental gymnastics rather than try and do things, act impulsively. They'll try and nut it out first. It's not that they're cold, it's just that they are not built for heart-to-hearts. They're not built for romance or candlelight dinners. If you want that, walk the other way. Okay, so the Princess of Cups is the opposite of that. So in the past, maybe you, Gemini, were around a water sign who's emotional, who's the opposite of you. And that's probably a good thing because opposites attract. And usually what one partner doesn't possess, the other partner does. So it's trying to find that other shoe that fits you. So for one who gets overly emotional might need to be balanced out by someone who's logical and non-emotional. 2 emotional people would not work very well. So it says here, this person is very romantic, they're very sensitive, they're social, they're a compassionate person. It could have represented a past relationship with this person. They would have a stack of novels by their bedside table, or they might daydream, often looking out the window, distracting themselves from taking mini escapes from the mundane, from the world around them. I know lots of people that sit there and just daydream and think about or plan out what they want to do next. One person I used to know used to sit there before work and just stare at nothing. I'm like, what are you doing? And I think they were just preparing themselves mentally to go through their day, or daydreaming out the window to try and escape the chaos that is life. Okay, and usually these are when thoughts come through and images come through, when you can quiet your mind enough to let and shut out all that noise. You'll start to get impressions, or you may even see past loved ones pass over, or like I do, I tend to see people that have passed over because it might be an anniversary of a season, an anniversary of their death, or just the season that they were born in, like November, which is the Scorpion season. So like little things like that can open portals to the other side. When you're daydreaming, you may see glimpses of future or past events. That's how I work. So it says here, this person likes to escape reality by doing these daydreams and enjoys the quiet place away from the intrusion of others, like in their quiet little garden. So that may be why they daydream, so they can escape the mundane or people around them. The Chariot, that's a really good card. That's a Sagittarian card. The go-getters, the ones that take risk. 7 is a very lucky card. So in your past, you may have dealt with a Sag, or you may have Saggy in your chart. That person was a very important figure in your life or in childhood, a competitive sort of person. They love the road trips. They're dedicated to steering a straight and narrow through the light and dark thoughts of other people and themselves. And they may have, and they do not allow others to steer them off their methodical, well thought out purpose or course. So that's really good. Nothing stops them from getting or achieving what they go after in life. Then you've got here a Prince of Autumn. Could be male or female, a younger male or female, slow moving energy. They are a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. They're very cautious and wise. They have plans. They're like the chariot. They like to plan things. They're slow moving. Doesn't mean, he's just gently sitting on that leaf floating through the water. He's not going at it 100 miles an hour. He's taking his time before he comes to you or talks to you or approaches you, because they're very cautious people. And they're very dependable. They're humorous. They're cautious and wise. They put other people's needs first before their own needs. So they need to start putting themselves first and their own health first. And it says here they'll probably have multiple backup options and plans A to Z. Trustworthy, a guardian with a gift for putting a sound business plan together. We've got intellectual brilliance going on between those ears. So he may look like he's calm and thinking and in contemplating, but there's a whole world of activity going up in that brain. And that's represented by the orb on the end of his staff. That's his mind working, very bright. He's a very bright person. Plays down how bright they actually are. You can time a watch by them to be on time. They show up. They're loyal. They're dependable. Excellent type of employee. If you want someone who's dependable and reliable and says what they're going to do and actually goes through and does it, that's the sort of person that you want on your side, on your team. So for Geminis, that's if they're looking at hiring people, you want someone dependable and reliable like that. And they're very career driven too. And then you've got, in the future, you have a King of Wands, which is this one here. And he's quite a busy bee. He's got the bees around him. The bees represent diligence and hard work. He makes lemonade out of lemons. It's very sort of resourceful. Good at trying to cut costs and cut ways and come up with new unique ideas on how to save money and make money, which is really good. So it says here it's innovative, it's inspiring. They could be an unexpected supporter of your cause. They're promotions, or maybe they're in promotions or in advancements in career. They may be in an acting community, a flair for bold moves. They love their family. A father figure will lead you to wise decisions. He holds court in a room and in life, and dramatic entrance into and out of the world. 10 of Cups, family. And they tend to be very family orientated as well. So there's your 10 of Cups. They're all together on the boat and they're looking after the children. So that talks about your family maybe looking after your children for a bit. It also talks about looking after you, and you're looking after you as well, and trying to look after your family as well. So it talks about looking and reuniting with family, raising children wisely, people you can put your trust with looking after your children. And the Sun card, which is a lovely card to pull, is to do with happiness and positivity and learning. So it's like a teaching card. I get that around you. So for Geminis, you may be in a teaching role. You may teach others how to play the violin. You may teach people how to do tarot cards. You may teach people on how to swim. You may be a swim teacher, or you may be a coach for a footy team. That's what it's saying there. So that's the sort of energy that's around there. Great success is yours. It's dawning of a new brilliant idea. Beautiful shining child of God. Treat yourself with kindness and respect as you do for others. So sometimes you may put yourself last. It says you need to also put yourself first. And then you've got the 5 of Swords. So this is a lot of sword energy, a lot of air energy around the Gemini reading. This is like 5 people putting their swords down and realising that what you thought you wanted wasn't the best choice for your happiness, something that's not worth the effort. So it's telling you to walk away from dishonest associations or dishonest people. So that's what it's saying there. Try to keep away from all of that. An unexpected problem with some, I guess, like-minded individuals, maybe these very smart people around you that are all competing for the same thing and have different viewpoints as well. Again, about viewpoints and conflict, because you pulled the conflict card as a significator. And so it's talking about something not worth the effort, walking away from meddling and dishonest family members, perhaps, or people, or a group. Always stay in your truth and in your integrity. Know all the kindness you show others will come back to you. Express your gratitude to those who have helped you on the way. Avoid negativity. The Princess of Autumn is the crowning card, and this is to do with a studious person. They're, again, a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo person. It's happy news about your career. So maybe you're after that job, Gemini, you'll get that job and promotion or that scholarship. It's a well thought out plan. You may need a little bit of a push to get going. Maybe you're a bit nervous on starting a new position, but it says you'll do really well with it. It says you're very cheerful, but you're mischievous. So I guess that's why those cards came up together. Mischievous. So be careful of being too mischievous. Be honest and in your integrity. Going back to school, seminars, courses, working your way up the ladder of enlightenment. You can never know too much. Charming, optimistic, upbeat and clever. Has a mischievous streak running through them. So beware of listening or taking anything at face value. These people may lie to you to tell you porcupines or exaggerate the truth. Moved from the Ace of Pentacles to the grown-up princess is responsible and wise beyond their years. It's like the boy that cried wolf. You cry wolf so many times and people aren't going to come running anymore because they're tired of all your, crying wolf, crying for attention. Go and get it somewhere else is what I'm saying. If it's a real thing, yeah, sure, but don't cry wolf and expect people to turn up for you if you're going to keep lying. You have to be very honest with these people, with these Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, because they're going to see through it. They usually do. They can smell it. They're kind of like lie. They're inbuilt lie detectors. They'd be good in the police force because they can kind of pick out who's lying and who's not, or something in security or guarding or looking after a situation or a sensitive topic. So that's what that says about that. And then we've got here mending. I like this card. It's mending fences. She's trying to make something with the other little girl. And that's number 52 from The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette-Baron-Reid. I've had her deck for quite a while now. I'm using it. I really like the imagery on it as well. I always pick it based on the colours rather than what it says on the back of the book. It's always about the art side of things. Okay. Forgiveness, making amends, healing after arguments. Each time we are hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding and integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. This keeps us chained to the very things we need to heal. The pain, the memories, the echoes, or resentments of others, and the arguments that we rehearse over and over. Now is the time for mending rifts, healing wounds, and letting go of the old hurts in order to reclaim your power. Now is the time to forgive, to release, to make peace, and to make amends to others, and to set yourself free. You've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you want to move forward. You don't have to hang out with them every week, but you just need to kind of forgive them in your heart and try to move forward from that. The energy also, it affects you in every aspect of your life. If you hang on to anger and resentment, it'll build up and become something like cancer. So you've got to remember all that hatred and that anger can backfire on you, and you can end up with some illness. They say when a person has problems with their heart or heart pain, it's because there's a sadness, there's deep grief. And so the deep grief is caused through this sadness that you haven't released. Sometimes people get it in their lower back. And the lower back can represent not feeling supported. Or it could be somewhere in their intestinal, which is fear-based. So it's like if you have a problem with intestinal issues, it's usually fear that you're holding on to. Fear and haven't released that fear. Let go and learn from this. You've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you're to move forward. It says here, separate altogether. You and that other person are still experiencing this hurt. So you need to bridge the gap. You need to clear the air. And it says it's closing your heart is not the answer, because you have the power to heal this wound. Ask yourself what love would do. Only good will come of forgiveness and an honest redress. Everyone makes mistakes, especially when you want something very badly. You may come to realise that in chasing after that pretty shiny thing, you lost sight of long-term sustainable prosperity. Sometimes you make choices that look good at first but ultimately lead to failure or loss. It's time to forgive yourself and others. Don't blame anyone else. You can start over. The journey to true abundance can be bumpy, but make amends to anyone who may have hurt you along the way, especially yourself. Forgive those who may have taken advantage of you. Let go and learn from this. You are that much closer to achieving the kind of prosperity that really fulfills you, because nothing is ever lost or wasted when you review it from a different perspective, or this perspective. Heartbreak is strange, healer of souls. Our grief strips away our masks and loosens our tight hold on our separateness when we view ourselves as I and the world as it. Loss allows us to see ourselves as part of a larger scheme, opening up to sympathy, empathy, and deep dependence on others in the moment when we can't hold ourselves together. And it leads us to become with the greater whole again. Pain and suffering is part of life, and none of us will be immune to it. Can you view this loss, this pain, this dissonance as a way back to source? Let your sorrow break your heart wide open. You will never be left behind. You are loved now more than ever by Spirit, who does not want you to feel alone. One day you will look back and know this truth. So we come to this earth alone, and we leave this earth alone. You have to remember that. So even if you are alone, you're not alone. You have your support team. You have your spirit angel team around you. Chaos and conflict. So that was to do with the other card. That's 33. And usually when there's conflict, or if you create conflict in a group or a situation, it's because you've got conflict going in within. This confliction in your own, emotional, physical being that you may need to sort out with a therapist or a grief counsellor. 33. I think everyone needs to see someone at the moment with everything that's changing in COVID. It's all very, very upsetting to everyone, and no one's coping with the changes. Okay, opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of the chaos. That serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself that you no longer need, and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control, yet every storm passes, and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. Stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to prolong the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to higher ground? Soon the air will clear, and you'll be much better placed than before the storm has passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before, if you use this time constructively. If someone crosses your boundaries and you end up in an argument, or maybe you say something you don't mean in the moment to a loved one or a friend or a person, I find the best way to approach that if they've had a go at you or got frustrated with you, it's usually they're frustrated at themselves rather than at you, so I don't take it personally anymore. So if my son ignores me or doesn't want to talk to me or ignores messages, I just don't choose to answer his phone and engage in any more conflict until he's calmed down and he can start talking to me as a person rather than as someone he would talk to down the pub. A bit of respect goes a long way. So when they start treating you with disrespect or harassing you or calling you and disrespecting your boundaries, then you have the right to have a peace of mind by switching your phone off or turning it on silent to put a boundary up saying between these hours I'm unavailable. And I think that's what I'm going to have to start doing with the other side, the angels that are coming through, because I'm on call like from the moment I get up, which is usually when I'm sleeping. I'm getting all these messages through. I'm downloading all this information. And I'm trying to sleep and I'm exhausted. And I just want to go, you know what? A lady who's a spiritual person like me said, you need to tell them out loud, my hours of operation are from 9 o'clock till 5 p.m. After that, I don't want to know. So you're kind of going to have to tell your angel team, if you're a psychic or a medium like myself, that I'm available between these hours. Or if you don't want to be disturbed, put do not disturb on your phone because you're at work or you're in an important meeting or you're studying or something. There's ways to communicate which don't have to be harsh. Yes, there could be conflict over it, but you need to find a way to express yourself in a polite manner. And if you can't, don't express it all. So then we've got here, circumstances can appear to be chaotic, but everything that's happening now in truth is shaking things up to find your real path to prosperity. Yes, it's a stormy time and it feels as if there are opposing forces wherever you turn, but be assured there is divine purpose in this chaos. Everything that doesn't work is being taken from you, so the truest parts of yourself can remain. The events occurring now are essential for your ultimate prosperity. The chaos is divinely inspired, even though it doesn't appear that way. In time, you'll know this to be true. Yeah, it's a divine order of sorting out elements of things you need to sort out. So, like this whole COVID thing, I believe is like a way to shake up the world on what is actually really important and what is not important. Is it important to have X amount of dollars in the bank and a house you can't afford to pay a mortgage on? Or is it important to be able to live comfortably and be able to afford to eat and pay your electricity bill? You know, it's all these things. You know, you buy a big house to try and accommodate children, but is it really important that you're the only one paying for these children? I don't think so. So you need to bring it down to a fairness where you can afford what you can actually afford and go to a place you can afford rather than a place you cannot and expect others to try and fork out for you. That's what I learnt. A hard, very hard lesson. I put people first before myself and I always get bitten. So I'm learning to go, you know what? I'm putting myself today. I'm on Do Not Disturb right now. If you want to speak to me when you're calm and when you're not going to be angry and having a go. So then we've got, okay, protecting treasure. So this is a card from the Enchanted Tarot. Enchanted Map by Colette-Baron-Reid. Okay. This is a nice deck because it reminds me of a map, you know, like we wish we all had a map to figure out how to get to and from, to navigate the seas of our emotions. But not always can we navigate our emotions correctly, and they may come out in a jumble because we're upset or tired. So we just have to allow people to be how they are and try not to take it personally. Very hard thing to do, but in practice you try. Okay, so this is number 39. I'm sure everyone got on everyone's nerves during COVID. Being, you know, with people 24/7 without being able to go outside or have alone time is really hard if you need your space. Although this is a time of great risk, know that at a fundamental level, you are able to move forward safely and securely. The proverbial nest egg is safe and sound no matter the fluctuations in the world. Guardian angels and other guides are whispering to you, making you aware of their protective presence. Your loyalty is an important theme now. Nurture that which you hold dear. This is a good time to strengthen bonds of friendship and ensure their integrity. If you feel tested right now, know that a true and loyal heart always achieves its aim. Take refuge under an angel's wing. You are not alone and you have no need to fear. Embrace your courage. Yeah. Your nest egg. Everyone's probably worried about their nest egg because they've got to dip into their super and their whatever. But at the minute, what else are you going to do? You're going to have to somehow survive when there's no work. So everyone's probably dipping into a nest egg they don't want to, but you can always put it back bit by bit. That's what I do when I dip into it. Metamorphosis. That's a transformation. This is what needs to happen to the world and to the way we deal with each other, the way we communicate, whether it be via Skype, whether it be via Messenger, whether it be via Duo or Zoom. There's all these new ways of learning how to communicate. And sometimes it's really good to have a please do not disturb or a Duo call that can't be answered, because that might be a way that you can have time away from the drama because you just need that a little bit of alone time. And I can understand that. You can't be on 24/7. I've got to learn how to shut mine off. 25, metamorphosis. I'm hoping when things go back to normal to go and do a course with Mitchell Coombs, because he seems to know how to control his stuff. I don't. That's Mitchell Coombs, Signs from Spirit. Amazing guy. Okay, so although this is a time of great risk, and I read that one already, so we're up to 25. My mind's not with it. My grandfather's in hospital right now, so I'm a little bit numb to the fact that I don't know what to do about that. He's in hospital having an operation, and I'm hoping it goes well. But that's not up to me. That's up to his angel team. You are in the process of deep and beautiful change. Butterflies earn their wings through great effort. The process of change is often painful, for it never loses and sacrifices. If you are to transform from one form to another, a part of you needs to die. Letting go isn't easy, especially when you're used to thinking a certain way about your life and how you live it. Just as a snake sheds its skin, again we're in Scorpio season, we're in Scorpio of shedding skin, or a caterpillar dies so that a butterfly can be born, you're required to release old ideas and embrace a necessary change so you can live your best life. Whether that's giving up an addiction, I'm sure everyone's got an addiction because of COVID. Everyone was drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning because of the sheer lack of knowing what was going to happen next. It was just the fear of the unknown, and that's half of the problem, the fear of the unknown, how we're going forward, after this. It's like we've been on this huge 5-month holiday of not knowing what's around the corner. So you have to release these ideas. Perhaps you're being asked to let go of self-worth, a dream that no longer serves you, a relationship that is draining or unhealthy. Despite your fear, you must accept that this is a transformational time for you. There will be some loss involved, but you'll love what you become. So everyone has to go through this transformation. It's not just you. I had to learn how to do computers. I've got no idea. I had to teach myself with a book, thank God, with this book that helped me through the entire COVID situation when I started uni. That was a huge undertaking. I don't even know what I was thinking I was going to do when I'd never ever touched a computer properly, just to do Facebook. That was the extent that I had, and I had to learn how to do chats with librarians and how to submit forms and how to work from home, I guess, from the computer. That was a first. Had no idea what I was doing. I thank God for some of the librarians at university. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have sailed through. And the only other thing that sort of helped me was the librarians at the local libraries as well. One of the best libraries I've gone to is in town. There's a techie guy in there, and he's really good at computers, so I relied a lot on him. And then you've got people in Mayfield Library and Lambton Library. I found some really good people. Librarians are amazing. They've got bachelors in, I think it's education, or it's a master's. They're very smart people. And most of the time, they get things that you can't get because they're trying to deal with people that are also got a master's degree. So I guess that's why you can talk to a librarian, because they have to have that level of education in order to help you. So I found this one invaluable. Microsoft Office Online by Marty Matthews and Carol Matthews, and it was all self-explanatory. It had pictures on how to do things. So if I get stuck, it's my go-to guide. I ended up buying it because it was my Bible throughout the whole of COVID, shut down and doing uni work. So for anyone out there who's doing uni, I salute you, because doing a course that is hands-on and not just online, and you can't do hands-on, has put all those uni students behind the 8 ball, my son included. So he's a bit short right now because he's got to catch up on all this stuff that he couldn't do during lockdown. And so I think it's kind of prolonged his course a little bit, but I think in a good way, because this means he gets to redo stuff again, and it cements into his head, perhaps. Maybe it was a good thing. Maybe he gets to stay longer at uni and gets a better gist of it by doing or playing catch up on things that he couldn't do during lockdown. So it kind of sharpens his skills, if you will. He's working with chemicals and things all day, so you need to be able to see what you're doing and feel, touch and sense what you're doing in order to learn. I think most people learn better that way than through the online process. So that's all I have for you today. That's for Gemini. Hopefully that helps someone out there. And yeah, communication is key with Gemini. Mental activity, they've got mental gymnastics going on, so they're thinking 1,000 steps ahead of you. So if they're not presently listening to you or fob you off, it's because they've got 10,000 other things they're doing as well as talking with you. So with my angel team, I got a message through that came through very strong 3 days ago. This is the thing I had to talk about. And, my family don't like that I draw attention to myself, but I think it's important to draw attention to the people that want to be heard, that no longer can speak for themselves. Now, this young lady was found in an apartment. She had an abusive boyfriend. That's a given. But she had also been taking sleeping pills, and a concoction of sleeping pills and alcohol does not mix. Trust me, I've been hospitalised by doing that and had tremors and everything. Antidepressant meds are not good at the best of times for people like me, but for people that drink as well, not a good idea. And things like cold and flu medication, don't do it. You'll sleepwalk. So this girl must have had a problem with taking pills and that. And her side effects were also sleepwalking. But this is the lady that they found. I saw her 4 days ago and I couldn't understand what I was looking at and why she kept smiling at me. And it was like 3 or 4 days, maybe last week even. It was like maybe last week. It was a really hot day. That's when I tend to daydream. And there she was, smiling at me. I'm like, who are you? And then I picked up the paper today. I borrowed this yesterday. It's the latest edition. And there was her face. I'm like, that's her face. That's the girl I was looking at. So apparently she died on December the 2nd in a Melbourne apartment tower. She was found somehow in a garbage bin. They don't think it was self-harm. They don't think it was that. But they do think it was under mysterious circumstances. So to the parents out there, I really hope they get to the bottom of this. I think maybe they're going to get to the bottom of it. I think that's why I saw her. She's wanting to let you know that she thinks that they're going to discover what happened to lead up to that. They're going to uncover something that wasn't uncovered before. And she's trying to make known, coming through to see me, that I can see her, that she's happy. She's in a happy place now. She's not at all upset. She's passed over. She looked fine. So I'm hoping, yeah, for the family out there, my condolences for this time of the year. It must be awful. I lost a boyfriend back in an ex-boyfriend, back in 2019, I think it was, 2019, 2020. I'd only found out about it in 2020, and we had not been in contact for 10, 15 years maybe. But we were together, we almost got married and everything, we were talking about it. And I had a vision of him at the time. It was a really hot day, and he was, like, I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, he made contact, and it was on my birthday. That was the birthday week that I saw him. Just for a minute, and then he disappeared, and it was like he was trying to say, you know, I'm okay. I've moved on, I've passed over, but hello to my family. Don't know why I was given this ability. It's just something I do because of what I went through, maybe, because I almost died, you know, with the tremors with the medication that reacted. And ever since then, I've come through seeing people that have passed over. And it's not all the time, and it's not in broad daylight all the time. It's only when I'm exhausted or I haven't had enough sleep that these things happen, or I haven't eaten enough that day. But not 95% of the time, it's usually when I'm asleep that I see these things. So that's a good thing. My psychologist said that's normal. So apparently I'm normal, but with this added quirk of seeing dead people. But she's not worried. She thinks I'm doing a lot better. I think everyone needs to reach out to their psychologist, because they are the bridge between you and family that don't get you when you're different. Unique. As my son says, Mum, you're just doing you. So I'm just doing me. There you go, girl.